my hand, I lift my palm towards freedom land. I gotta birth my dreams and stand.
All of these agencies, like from police, sheriffs, to ICE and Border Patrol reform, we need them gone and abolished. This is the basic structures that are being used to target our people. Like just thinking of how the sheriffs operate here, like when people are booked into the jail, they get a flag if the person is undocumented, and then ICE goes and picks them up from inside the jail. So even when thinking of the bonds, that's the excuse that they use, right? Like, so by the time a poor person can collect money to pay for bond, and the bond could be as low as $100, $200, $300, it's not easy. Sometimes it happens that once they get there, we have to figure out where they're gonna be transferred out to from the jail, because we know that the jail operates the way that it operates. I don't know, just thinking about how the system works and how they share that information with each other, just to make it more effective, and they continue to expand and catching more people from different angles. How is it possible that a traffic citation, no, not even a traffic citation, quote unquote, smoke coming out of your car is an excuse that is being used? We are not really targeting the root cause of everything, right? And for me, that's the problem. Or like moving outside of these systems that we're familiar with, and then we start talking about the other layers of security that having weaponized against us for further surveillance. And in my head right now, the first one that jumps on my head is G4S.
For clarity, what is that? What is G4S?
G4S is the largest private security company in the world. So they do a lot of the work in Palestine and Israel. So technically they're working for Israel, and they are just there like to protect property and taking it away from the Palestinians. How we see it in inner cities is like they're the people who are at the bus stops, making sure people are maybe paying the bus fares, or making sure that the parking meters have money for the cars that are parked there. So like they are so ingrained like in our communities, like doing so much, and we really don't want to acknowledge what's happening on the other side of the world. So that's private companies, the detention centers like the Core Civic, the Geo Group, and then the Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, ICE, Border Patrol. And I mean, a lot of people don't know what it means to have Border Patrol because you don't live within the 100-mile radius. So then you have like this additional layer of patrolling, and somebody who's patrolling immigration status.
I think in capitalism, a couple of the byproducts are like racism and xenophobia. It is definitely to the advantage of a structure that is hurting and harming so many people as a whole, and that benefits very few people, to find ways to make it look like this is this and this is that. These are separate. And I do think it's strategic to begin to look at it as in its entirety. Part of our organizing is in the schools, and we're organizing with students whose parents are incarcerated or deported. And to them, like their conversations, it is literally all the same. They cry together, the impacts that they have had, and the way that they look at it as if it's all the same in our schools. It's the local, state, and federal governments in all different areas. It's bipartisan. You know, we've all seen so much harm under Clinton, under Obama, you know what I mean? Trump. It's not, you may see a little bit more or less one way or the other, but it's definitely strategic to begin to look at it as a whole, and to organize from that perspective. So the call, as you said, there's no way we can reform this system. We can't reform what is happening to any of our communities. And so the call, when you think about strategic, it's like we're calling to abolish ICE. We're calling to abolish prisons and jails, because we know if any of this is left intact, then they're going to use this for the same purpose. And so it's like a universal abolition. It's not working for anybody. And so we can't fix it. We can't put lipstick on a pig. In this situation, we have to call to abolish all of it and really reinvest, not reinvest because our communities have not been invested in, period. To invest in our communities, allow us to build on our own and empower ourselves and determine our own, paths.
And I think it's about dividing and conquering, right? Like they're giving us so many labels, and then we all take them in, right? Like we are not willing to reject what they are giving us, from being brown, from being undocumented, from being a legalized migrant, for being a U.S. citizen. But what difference is that to be a U.S. citizen when we know that they're killing Black and brown bodies across the country, that are criminalizing everybody for being poor? Like when there's something getting strong or people are like coming in together with the same sense, I feel like they just throw us all the time like breadcrumbs, and then, oh no, this is all they're gonna give us. We gotta take it. We gotta take it. This is the only option. But I think it's also looking and learning from the past and bringing the elders and acknowledging them that their wisdom has to be taken into these conversations. But then also younger people they see it different. And it's not just about abolishing agencies, it's not just about getting rid of systems that are not working, but then also looking at it as like, what is it gonna work? And what are those alternatives economies that we need to start building ourselves, right? Like, so we are so focused and just thinking of the moment that we're living right now and the crisis that it feels, and not really thinking, oh, but while we're getting rid of this, we need to start practicing this other thing that is gonna take us to the place that we wanna go to, or the place that we wanna live in, or how we're gonna recreate these spaces, right? Like how we're gonna reoccupy spaces that should have not been built in the first place.
In my hand, my hand, my hand, keep holding my hand. I lift my palm towards
Incarceration right now, it looks like 2.2 million people incarcerated in the United States. 70 million people with a criminal background in the United States. Women's incarceration has risen over 700% in the last 40 years. A lot of people are incarcerated pre-trial, not even having been convicted of a crime at all. And that's causing like a jail crisis to where some, especially in the rural parts of the states, they have such overcrowded jails. Like there's some jails that some of the people that leave the jail in Nashville will go to, or that we've started to organize in their counties, where they are literally like chaining people to day rooms and wheelchairs because they don't have beds to sleep in. And so it's a extreme state of crisis.
I guess when it comes down to immigration detention, what we have seen is that there's no way to really track or measure the way that people receive the bonds when people are trying to get them out. Like we have seen like how much it has increased in past. But then now, like what it used to be anything between $500 to $1,500 for a person to bail them out of detention centers. Now we're seeing anything between, in average, $7,000 to $12,000. They don't have access to community. They don't have access to people. They limit the way that people can even have access to them. Like the detention centers that we have here in Arizona, they are in the middle of the desert. So like people have to drive anything between an hour and a half to 2 hours. But then also like the food that they get, the treatment that they get.
A lot of the things that you're saying are so triggering, because I remember a lot of these exact same situations where I was, and I'm sure they're afraid to like even tell sometimes because the fear of retaliation is probably real.
Yeah, it's higher, and then like what's at stake is their livelihood in this country, or going back to the countries that they came from, they migrated from, and who knows what's waiting there for them. thinking about the LGBTQ plus that are, when they're taken into custody, like they are not even respected. They are misassigned. They're taken into places where they're punished by other inmates or another detainees, and then the officers themselves. Then they need medical to take their hormones or their testosterone, whatever they need, and then it's denied. And then plus the whole violence that we go through, or through mental and emotional abuse that happens.
I've noticed, like in the private prisons, one of the ones that we go into is that they make them pay for medical. Some of these facilities you like make 17 cents an hour, so it's like, it's definitely slave labor. In fact, in a lot of these correctional facilities, especially like private facilities, people are working for multinational corporations, like right there, but for like 17 cents an hour.
Looking at how capitalism is playing like the biggest role in when it comes on to detention and incarceration of our people, clearly it's the money move, but then also the power move that they want to obtain from that, right? Like they're taking away our freedom, they're taking away joy from us, they're taking away our loved ones, they're breaking not only those who are in custody, but then also those who are outside.
You can't reconcile the need for caring for people and communities with the need to make profit. There's no way you can reconcile the two. We've never seen it done. And so these private facilities and also private detention centers are some of the worst egregious abuses that we see. The level of care, the amount of people dying in custody are extreme. I mean, the numbers, I mean, the abuses that happen, because it's always about cutting costs and it's always about upping profit no matter what.
The strongest strategy that I could think of that will give us a win as a community is that if we really will get everyone on the same page, to agree that we need all of these agencies like police, sheriffs, immigration officials, border patrol, and ICE, like we need them gone. Like we don't need them reformed, because a lot of people think that we can fix them and they can do better, instead of understanding now like this it's just the system doesn't work, because then we will have space and resources and time, and even we will allow our imagination to imagine that world and creativity of that we want to live in.
We need to spend as much energy right now on building what the new world looks like, so that we'll be positioned well enough to be able to abolish, and for it to come to us and not go to, okay, yeah, you know what, y'all are right. We're going to abolish all these things and we're going to take over and do this, and that's just going to be a recreation of the same.
I lift my palm towards freedom land. I got a
More than anything, I'm very honored to be sharing this space with you, to start like this journey together, starting today, because it doesn't stop here, right? Like more than anything, and learn more about the things that are happening, which I'm pretty sure they're not different, but like when we hear them from people that we know of, I think that's when we start creating that relationship to that issue and to the person and the individual who's doing the work.
I've learned so much in this short amount of time. And I'm glad that you said, like, this is only the beginning of our journey together. I think that there's great purpose of us being here together, and this is only the beginning. I really look forward to like bringing this information back home and all over the country, because I think it's so important. And so, I mean, I'm taking so much from this conversation. You just have just such a wonderful spirit and just brilliant, and I've learned so much, and thank you so much for everything.
Keep holding my hand, my hand, my hand. Keep holding my hand. I lift my palm towards freedom land. I gotta birth my dreams and stand. I gotta birth my dreams and stand.